I am so incredibly excited to guide you through this material because, let's be honest, we're tackling something that affects almost every single one of us at some point in our lives, and that is manipulation. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the covert tactics people use to try and control you. But more importantly, we are going to break down the exact step-by-step strategies you need to stop them right in their tracks. By the end of our time together, the goal is to transform you from feeling like a helpless target into an empowered equal who commands respect in absolutely any conversation.
Now, to kick things off, I want you to really think about a simple question. Have you ever been made to doubt your own sanity, or maybe your own abilities? Like, has a coworker, a boss, or even a really close family member ever dropped a sudden remark that just completely caught you off guard? You know the feeling, right? It's that brief, sinking sensation where you suddenly feel foolish, or you start second-guessing a decision you were entirely confident in just moments before. Well, they planted a seed of doubt, and I want to validate that feeling for you right now, because trust me, that was not an accident.
And that brings us right into part one, the manipulation around us and why control is everywhere. You know, we often picture manipulators as these grand, cinematic supervillains playing 4D chess. But the reality drawn from our source material is actually much more mundane and honestly a whole lot more common. Manipulation is just an everyday tactic used by people who simply have a desperate, deep-seated need to be in control. They want to place themselves above everyone else so they can feel superior, basically pulling the strings and making everyone else dance to their tune. Manipulators purposely try to rattle your confidence, so you second-guess yourself. Let's say you're the new person at work. You're laughing, joking, getting to know the team. Suddenly, someone pulls you aside and tells you to take a step back and tone it down. Why would they do that? Usually it's out of pure jealousy. They don't like feeling that their own popularity is threatened. Or maybe you're up for a promotion, and a rival subtly points out all your past mistakes in a meeting. They do this strictly to eliminate you as a threat to their own success. They just want to throw you off your game.
Moving on to section 2, the imposter syndrome trap. This is the manipulator's absolute favorite target.
See, manipulators don't just strike at random. They are actively hunting for a very specific psychological vulnerability. And the truly scary part here is that it's a vulnerability most of us are already struggling with behind closed doors. Just look at this staggering statistic. 70%. Research shows that 70% of the population experiences feelings of inadequacy, constantly worrying that other people might eventually notice they aren't actually good enough. And because the vast majority of us experience this, we become incredibly easy prey for someone who knows exactly how to push those buttons. Now, this feeling actually has a formal name: imposter syndrome. According to research from the California Institute of Technology, sufferers experience this persistent feeling of being inadequate or feeling like an intellectual fraud, no matter how much evidence there is of their success. The research reveals that this leads to severe anxiety, a massive drop in self-esteem after any perceived failure, and even self-sabotage. And here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. This off-balance, unfocused state of anxiety is exactly where the manipulator wants you. It makes it so incredibly easy for them to strike while you're distracted and just take whatever they want. Which leads us to part 3, your fundamental human rights. Think of this as the foundation of your armor. Listen, we are not going to let them win. Establishing your rights is the very first step to taking your power back. Whether the manipulator in your life is a boss, a demanding client, or even a parent or sibling you've known your entire life, it is time to establish the absolute baseline rules for how you are allowed to be treated. I want you to memorize these rapid-fire boundary rules. You always have a fundamental right to be respected, to express your emotions and your opinions, to say no without feeling an ounce of guilt, to establish your own priorities, to take action to protect yourself, and to do what aligns with your own happiness. You are responsible for your own life, and a manipulator has absolutely zero right to disregard these, ever. Okay, let's dive into section 4, invalidating the manipulator. We're turning the tables on toxic conversations. Usually, when you're in a normal conversation, you validate the person speaking, right? You signal that their thoughts matter. But with a manipulator, we want to intentionally do the exact opposite. We want to invalidate them, to completely strip them of their power. This isn't about being abusive. It's about taking away their control. Take the controlling manipulator. They butt in and say, "That's not how you do it. My way is best." Your empowered response to completely invalidate their control, you just calmly say, "I respect that, but I'm confident my solution works, so I'm doing it anyway." Let me tell you, absolutely nothing drives a controlling manipulator crazier than watching you calmly proceed with your own plan despite their interference, especially when they fully expected you to just cave and obey. Next up, we have the guilt-tripping manipulator. They sigh loudly and complain, "Nobody helps me when I do everything for everyone else." They just want you to feel incredibly guilty and take on their workload. But your empowered response uses what we call inattentive invalidation. You completely ignore the guilt trip and just reply brightly, "The progress on the project is going really great, don't you think?" It's brilliant. This signals to them that you see their tactics crystal clear and you absolutely refuse to play their little game. And then there's the emotional manipulator. Let's say you tell them you're sad about missing out on a promotion, and they dismissively say, "Why are you sad about that? You're overreacting." Your empowered response here is firm. "I worked hard, and I have a right to be upset about it." Taking a resolute stand for your own emotions stops them from minimizing your feelings immediately. You are stepping up and reestablishing your fundamental right to express how you feel. All right, Section 5, Everyday Defensive Tactics. Here are some practical steps to protect your peace. Beyond just having specific phrases ready to go, you need broader habits to fortify your boundaries day in and day out. This is especially crucial for dealing with family members or coworkers, the people you can't just completely cut ties with. First up is a fantastic tool I call the pressure pause. Whenever you feel that intense pressure building up from a manipulator demanding an immediate answer, take a deep breath and firmly state, "I'll need some time to think about it." Never, ever let a manipulator force a quick decision. Use this phrase to stand your ground, break their aggressive momentum, and remind yourself that you do not owe them instant compliance. And this brilliantly illustrates one of the absolute hardest truths we have to accept. Will a manipulator actually mend their ways and change? The answer is a resounding 100% no, 0% yes. Expecting a self-absorbed manipulator to suddenly develop empathy and see things from your perspective is a massive trap. They lack empathy and they care very little for the feelings of others. If you're just waiting around for them to fix themselves, you are literally only setting yourself up for endless frustration. So what do you do when things actually get heated? You use the confrontation protocol. It's incredibly simple. Step 1, diffuse the situation. Step 2, exit immediately. That's it. Arguing with a manipulator is entirely pointless because the more you try to engage with logic, the more they will insult you or accuse you of things you never even did, just to get a rise out of you. They want you to lose your temper, so do not give them the satisfaction. Just diffuse the tension and leave the room. To really wrap up your defensive playbook, you need to integrate these daily habits. Keep close connections with people you actually trust. They are the ones who will ground you in reality. Take your time to determine and enforce your boundaries slowly. Just let the manipulator's unsolicited advice go in one ear and right out the other. Stop being a punching bag and absolutely stop asking for permission to live your own life. And honestly, perhaps most importantly, find your own life purpose. The source text makes this very clear. Manipulators prey on people who are just flitting through life without direction. Having your own strong sense of purpose makes you incredibly difficult to distract, deceive, or control. This whole concept is captured so beautifully in this quote directly from our source material. You restore to yourself the power and the right to be equal individuals in a communication exchange. That is just so incredibly empowering. By analyzing their cues and firmly standing your ground, you ensure that you maintain an equal balance of power. You literally hold the key to demanding respect and ending that vicious cycle of manipulation. So I want to leave you with this final, highly provocative question to really chew on. Will you give someone permission to manipulate you today, or will you stand your ground? Remember, absolutely no one has any real power to manipulate you unless you hand over the permission to let them. It's time to take accountability for your own happiness, stop compromising your peace of mind, and start enforcing your fundamental rights today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I will see you next time.